If you're a gun owner in America, everything you thought you knew about your rights just got turned upside down. A major federal court decision came down recently that's rewriting the entire rule book for how gun laws work in this country. I'm going to break down 10 critical changes that came out of this ruling. Changes that could mean the difference between exercising your rights freely or facing unexpected legal problems. These aren't minor adjustments to existing laws. We're talking about fundamental shifts in how your constitutional rights are protected. Hit subscribe because this information could literally save you from legal trouble down the road. Rule 10. Traveling with firearms just got easier. Rule 10. Traveling with firearms just got easier. Starting with Rule 10. If you've ever been afraid to travel through certain states with your legally owned firearm, those days are over. The federal courts have created what's essentially a safe passage guarantee for law-abiding gun owners traveling between states. Here's the simple version. If your gun is legal where you start your trip and legal where you're going, you're protected by federal law for the entire journey. No more worrying about getting arrested in New Jersey while driving from Pennsylvania to Vermont. But it gets even better. You're not just protected while the gun stays locked in your trunk during legitimate stops for food, gas, or overnight stays. You can legally carry if you have a valid permit, regardless of local laws. The magic words: if you get pulled over, I'm traveling under federal interstate protection. Police departments in restrictive states are having to completely retrain their officers because of this change. Rule 9, your Rule 9. Your home is your castle. Legally speaking, home is your castle. Legally speaking. Rule 9 strengthens your property rights in a big way. Federal agents can't just show up at your door anymore because you own guns. Those random compliance checks that gun store owners have been dealing with. They now need a warrant based on actual criminal evidence, not just the fact that you're in the gun business. This applies whether you're collecting guns at home, running a shooting range, or operating any firearms-related business. The government has to treat your property the same way they'd treat any other constitutional right, with respect and proper legal procedures. If federal agents come knocking, your response is simple. Show me a warrant with specific criminal allegations, or you can't search my property. Rule 8. Buying. Rule 8. Buying ammunition becomes normal again. Ammunition becomes normal again. Rule 8 fixes something that should never have been complicated in the first place: buying ammunition. The courts finally recognized what gun owners have always known. A gun without bullets is useless. This means all those bureaucratic hoops you've had to jump through to buy ammo are gone. California can't make you get a background check for bullets anymore. New York can't ban online ammo sales. Connecticut can't limit how much you can buy. Illinois can't require serialized ammunition. Buying ammo should be as simple as buying any other legal product. And now it is. Gun stores can go back to normal over-the-counter sales. And online retailers can ship nationwide without worrying about a patchwork of state restrictions. Rule 7. Running a gun business gets protection. Rule 7. Running a gun business gets protection. Rule 7 is great news if you're in the gun business or thinking about getting your federal license. The ATF can't use vague standards or play games with enforcement anymore. Gun businesses now get the same legal protections as any other legitimate commerce. This means those gotcha inspections looking for minor paperwork errors are mostly over. The ATF can't revoke your license for small mistakes that aren't actually criminal. If you want to get your FFL, they have to process it within 60 days, not drag it out for months. Home-based dealers who've been pushed around by local bureaucrats now have federal backing. The bottom line is that legitimate gun businesses can operate without constant fear of arbitrary government harassment. Rule 6. Your digital life is private again. Rule 6. Your digital life is private again. Rule 6 addresses something sneaky that's been happening. The government tracking your digital footprint because you own guns. They were monitoring your location when you visited gun stores, tracking your online ammo purchases, recording your gun-related internet searches, and building profiles based on your social media. That's all illegal now. The court said the government can't turn exercising your constitutional rights into justification for constant surveillance. Your phone data, credit card records, and online activity related to legal gun ownership are now protected. If anyone tries to access this information, tell them, digital surveillance of lawful gun owners is prohibited, and I don't consent to any searches of my devices or records. Rule 5. Getting a carry permit becomes straightforward. Rule 5. Getting a carry permit becomes straightforward. Rule 5 eliminates the games that some states have been playing with carry permits. The Supreme Court set 3 non-negotiable rules. Permits must be processed within 30 days. No more subjective good cause requirements, and fees can't exceed $50. States can't turn a constitutional right into a privilege by making you wait forever, requiring you to prove why you need to carry or charging excessive fees. If you live in California, New York, New Jersey, or any other restrictive state, your entire permit system just got overhauled. Applications that have been sitting in bureaucratic limbo for months are automatically approved after 30 days. Rule 4. Gun. Rule 4. Gun registries are getting deleted. Registries are getting deleted. Rule 4 is probably the biggest privacy win we've seen. The federal government has been ordered to delete all their digitized gun owner records within 90 days. The court said maintaining searchable databases violates federal law. Period. Even more importantly, any state that shares gun owner information with federal agencies is participating in an illegal registry and has to stop immediately. The ATF has 90 days to prove they've destroyed everything or they face contempt of court. This effectively kills any possibility of a national gun registry through the back door. Rule 3. Taking your guns. Rule 3. Taking your guns requires criminal charges. Rule 3 puts a stop to gun confiscation without proper criminal process. Red flag laws that don't require actual criminal charges are unconstitutional. Civil asset forfeit of guns is over. Police can't take your firearms during an investigation unless you're actually arrested and charged with a crime. The Supreme Court was crystal clear. No seizure without arrest, formal charges, and due process. Gone are the days when police could say, "We're taking your guns while we investigate," or "Someone reported you might be dangerous." Rule 2. Police officers are personally liable. Now 2. Police officers are personally liable. Now, Rule 2 changes everything about how police interact with gun owners. Officers who violate your Second Amendment rights no longer get qualified immunity protection. They face personal financial liability, potential federal prosecution, and career-ending consequences. The court said if any reasonable person would know that confiscating someone's legal gun or arresting them for lawful carry violates the Constitution, then police officers are expected to know it too. This has already resulted in multi-million-dollar personal judgments against officers, and police departments are scrambling to retrain everyone. Rule 1, second rule. 1. Second Amendment gets top-tier protection. Amendment gets top-tier protection. Rule 1 is the foundation that makes everything else possible. The Supreme Court elevated Second Amendment rights to the highest level of constitutional protection available under American law. This means any law affecting your gun rights has to survive strict scrutiny, the most demanding legal test we have. The government must prove they have a compelling reason for any restriction and use the least restrictive method possible. The burden is now entirely on the government to justify limitations on your rights, not on you to prove you deserve them. This single change makes thousands of existing gun laws legally questionable and forces politicians to meet the highest constitutional standards before passing new restrictions. Conclusion. What we're looking at here is the most comprehensive restoration of Second Amendment rights in generations. These aren't just legal technicalities. They're real-world protections that affect how you can exercise your constitutional rights every day. The key is understanding these changes and knowing how to use them. Gun ownership in America just became a lot more straightforward and a lot more protected. Stay informed, know your rights, and remember that these protections only work if you understand them. The legal landscape has shifted dramatically in favor of constitutional rights, and every gun owner needs to understand what that means for them personally.